Hello, and welcome to a slant eye view with two sides of cauliflower. This episode's gonna primarily focus on Rajadamnern's 72nd anniversary show. Sorry I couldn't get this in my usual time, but Christmas, holidays, all that other kind of rigmarole. I don't want to bore you with any of the details. And plus, the weather around here has been real shit, and I think I'm catching a cold. But none of you care about that, nor should you. So let's roll on with, like I said, the Rajadamnern 72nd anniversary show. First disappointing thing that happened with it was I found out Sang didn't have a fight because Yadlik had to withdraw. They couldn't find anybody else for him, so he didn't get to fight on the show. Kind of sad about that. So that made the main event Seb Scott or Kamwang, again, forgive me for pronunciation, versus Piyah Sitchef Buntam. And again, not Jitmunjang, which is several-time Fighter of the Year award winner, Piyah. Different Piyah. I wanted to go over real quickly my first time experiencing Seb Scott or Kamwang, or as he's known, the Fighting Man. I was lucky enough that I actually got to go to Racha once, and he was the main event that night against Rotlek, and it was one of the most brutal exchanges of elbows I've ever witnessed in my life between those two fellas. And since that time, which was let me check, I got the real quick here, let's go off script slightly. I still have the promo poster from when I got to see that fight live in Bangkok. Unfortunately, my last trip, Rajadamnern and Lumpini were shut down for the king and such. I'm not going to go over all the details of that because I think I've kind of covered it enough over the last few years. But anyway, Seb Scott ended up beating Piyah by points almost exclusively due to his patented aggressiveness. This guy, Seb Scott, he never ever stops. And since I saw him back in February of 2017, that dude's been fighting almost every goddamn week throughout the year. And for it to culminate for him winning this bout, which was for an IBF and a Racha title, is a good reward for all the work he's done throughout the year. But if he was fighting the actual Piyah Jitmunjang, which he did about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and was absolutely schooled. Anyhow, enough about that. Let's go on. Replacement fight that ended up taking the place of the same was Petchutong or Kamwang, also sponsored. I believe him and Seb Scott are both source of my gym guys, but they're sponsored by or Kamwang, whatever that might be. He fought Galnar PK Science Chai Gym. Well known for honorable gym. It's a source of mine. When I first watched this, I saw an edited version that only went from the third round on. And I thought to myself, how did Petchutong get the decision in that? It seemed like Galnar did a little more. Although barely. But it was enough to make me, and then thankfully source of my gym and the Rajadamnern Stadium channel have been putting out awesome full videos of all the fights from that night. Well, not all the fights, but most of them. And that's another reason why I've been kind of delayed, because I've been watching all those. I wanted to see the entirety of the fights to give a much better analysis review of what I saw happen. Because when I did watch from round 1 through 5, it became very obvious why Petchutong won. I gotta tell you, out of all the elite fighters on the Bangkok circuit, he's for a while now probably been my least favorite. But then I saw this fight and I noticed some things I've never noticed about that guy before. Most importantly, his balance. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody keep balance as well as that guy does in the clinch, or even at distance when somebody's trying to trip him or whatever. There were several times where I saw Gallagher get him in situations where like he's about to hit the mat, and he never did, or if he did, he took Gallagher with him. So very impressed. I get what all the fuss is about finally. Next, the fight I was most looking for, especially after the Sangami withdrawal, Roteng Jitmujang and Mongkal Kyul Sorsamai. Man, what an awesome fucking fight. And it's no wonder that was the first one that they published for the Rajadamnern YouTube channel, which you should subscribe to and watch. Those two guys, they know how to bring it, and they fought throughout the entire 5th round until about the last 20 seconds, which is very rare, especially with the frequency that both those guys fight. You know, a lot of the reason why I believe they like to take that last round off is just to make sure they're ready to go for a quick turnaround. You know, they don't want to take any unnecessary damage. They've already got to the meat of the fight, so to speak. But anyhow, Hugh pulled off the minor upset. I can't disagree with the decision. I was really surprised at how well he was able to counter Roteng's aggressive hands. You need to watch it. The sort of undercard, I guess. Petiskin Sorsamai defeated Jampicit Sitchep Buntam with an awesome body shot KO. Deliver with the fist. He could not continue. It was nice. That one I haven't seen on the Rajadamnern YouTube channel, but Muay Thais and several other places have been showing the highlighted, edited version of that. And with the KO, that's the real highlight you're all going to be looking for anyway. Am I right? I'm right. Yodkun Suek, I'm sorry, I don't know his gym name, won by an impressive up elbow doctor stoppage over Mati Sorjor Torpadre Drew. Sorry about the pronunciation, but that was kind of a big upset too. Mati was the champ and favorite going into that fight. And then lastly, we Pech Nagaram loses on points to Pech Visorn. Sorry I didn't get their gym names. Pech Nagaram was also a guy I got to see at Rajadamnern back in February, and he fought Superbank. And he got weight advantage because he didn't have the same experience as Superbank at the time. And he got literally thrown around that ring for a solid 12 minutes. I mean, mercilessly, and he had the weight advantage too. So I was really interested to see how much he's improved since then. And I didn't see that much. I was a little bit disappointed with the version of the guy I saw against Petra Zorn on the 21st of December versus the Pechnagaram I saw lose to Superbank February 22nd of 2017. Definitely a more confident fighter, and he definitely has good long range tools, right? His hands, his kicks, real good at long range. But he really needs to work on his clinch game a lot, because I gave him the benefit of the doubt against Superbank because Superbank's specialty is tripping in the clinch. I don't know, maybe this Petrifisorn, that's also his specialty. But yeah, there you go. So that wraps up my review of the Rajadamnern. What else has happened at Rajadamnern? Just the other night, they had the rematch between Boonlong Petchadi and Wanchalong PK Sayanjai Gym. And I stated I wasn't quite sure why they were having a rematch so soon. I thought Wanchalong did enough to prove that he was clearly a better fighter. But maybe Petchadi saw something I didn't see. And they did, because he beat Wanchalong. And it was pretty convincingly that he beat him too. He actually kind of almost beat him at his own game. He was a little bit better with being aggressive with his body kicks, I thought. And the main event of that card was a legends fight between Samson Petchindi and Virapol. I don't remember his gym name. But these guys were big back in the 90s, both former champions. For me, it was cool to see guys that age still bringing it. But at the same time, guys our age can't bring it for that long under the lights. So, I don't know, unless you're a big fan of those guys or what they used to do, I don't know if there's much in it for the layman fan to watch. But I was entertained by it nonetheless. Big announcement for future fights. December 30, 2017, the real Piyah, and no offense to Piyah, Chef Boom Tom, no offense to him, but the real Piyah, Jit Moon Jong will be fighting Super Leg, Kit Moon 9, and that'll be the 5th time these guys fight. They'll be fighting at Koh Samui. Judging by what I've seen from those dudes over the last couple of months, I would be shocked if Piyah doesn't kind of clean up a little bit. Super Leg's been looking a little bit not his usual self, and he is. Both those guys were in my top 5 favorite fighters. Super Leg's been kind of fading out, and a guy has been taking his place. Coming up next on the announcement, January 9th, 2018, awesome rematch. Ritwada and Nantakit will be rematched for the Lumpini belt on January 9th, 2018. That'll be quite a show. A fight I was looking forward to at Lumpini this past week, just the other day. I want to say it was Monday. Could have been this past Saturday. Rafi Bohik was supposed to fight Chad Collins for the welterweight belt, and I was excited about it because that's the first time I'd ever heard about 2 foreigners fighting for the belt. And something happened to Chad Collins. He got injured, got sick, something along the lines he had to pull out. And Simanut Saranya ended up taking his place. Rafi Bohik kind of was nice and technical and was able to win on points pretty decisively. KOs of the week, the Rajadamnern KO of the week is going back to Yad Kunsuk's up elbow stoppage of Mati, especially because it was for a belt and it was kind of an upset. The Lumpini KO of the week is also an up elbow KO. Det Piche Kor Karun, up elbow KO'd Padnagun Satburaram. Hope I got those names right. Now real quick, I want to go over the 2 main UFC fights coming up tomorrow night. Cyborg versus Holly Holm. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Mostly because there is so much that we really don't know about Cyborg. Like, what happens to Cyborg in MMA when she gets frustrated standing up striking? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen, and I'm wondering how she reacts to that. That's going to be my biggest thing to watch for. Is she going to do what many people consider a smart thing to do, move in, because she's obviously going to, I think she can eat a couple of shots from Holly before she goes in, clinches up, and throws her down. And I think there's a decisive advantage in the ground grappling for Cyborg over Holly Holm. Also another question I wanted to see. The other big fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Edson Barbosa. Interesting for different reasons. Last time we saw Khabib in the cage, he fought Michael Johnson. His stand-up looked very suspect, but once he gets you down, man, it is over. And it's no different here. The big difference being is if he's sloppy against Edson, he will get knocked out. So that's the reason to watch for that. And I'm going to close this out before it runs too long. I did it all in one take. I dare anybody to do that shit. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure lots of people do that shit. But I'm out. Later.